Alrighty, and we're live. Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is Saramonin with the Gaming Reality Show with my co-host Pelham over here.
Good morning, everyone.
All right, good night for us in the wonderful Americas. But yeah, today we're gonna be talking about some crazy stuff. Usually we have some topics at hand, but for this episode, we thought it'd be kind of cool if we just kind of went on with what we've gone through in the past and kind of going back to the beginning, which is what we're calling the episode, back to the beginning, back to the future type of shit, but back to the beginning of our roots and what we've seen in gaming and kind of memorable good feel moments
Where it all began, back at the start.
back in the day. Yes. So yeah, I guess I'll start off with, I guess we will kind of have a little bit of topics, but we've talked quite a bit with MMORPGs, and we're trying to stay away from being just a one-sided kind of show where it's just MMOs or type of stuff. So I'm gonna ask you, Pelham, what is your most memorable moment in any type of genre? FPS. I don't know if you play FPS, but FPS, RPG, MMO, like the most earliest moment, but at the same time, the most memorable moment for you.
That is a tough one because I have many memorable moments over the many years of gaming.
Yeah.
Probably my earliest memory of actual fun was getting home from school in grade 5 to play Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64.
Oh, such a good game, dude.
I remember I actually got picked up early one day. Thanks, Mum, for that. So we could complete the Fire Temple. Because we had a rule set in place that we can't play the game without each other. So either if I was home and Mum was home, we'd play the game. If I was at school, she would not have to be able to play unless she did secretly and I just didn't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely fun. I also sucked at games back then. Probably most memorable FPS moment was some extremely shitty Counter-Strike. I think it was Source. Yeah, I killed 5 people because my team got flashed and they all died. But I don't play FPS games, so I don't have to deal with that too often.
Yeah.
What about you, man?
My most memorable moment, like when I was young at least, I would say would be maybe GoldenEye 007. I had so much fun playing that game when I was younger. I play with my brother and just go on crazy, and I can hear the when you got killed in the game. There's a specific sound. It's like da 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 da. Like still in my head, I can hear it. But definitely,
Players.
definitely, Ocarina of Time was a blessing, and most of the Nintendo 64 games I find um, really kind of defines me to become a gamer, I guess. It became with Mario 64. Mario 64 was Mario was a Mario World or Mario 64. Definitely love that game. And then Ocarina of Time came in a little bit after that, and then Super Smash Brothers, and it went on from there. And then I just kind of got into it. After that, I just got into the PlayStation, and then PlayStation 2, and then Xbox 360, and then PS4 or PS3, and then PS4. So I don't know. I mean, I can't really say what my biggest moment was that kind of defined something for me, but I would say maybe GoldenEye or Ocarina of Time definitely did.
It's definitely one of the first memories is definitely the 64. Like I played plenty of games before that, but none really stick out.
Yeah, there was this one game I remember, and it was kind of freaky. It was called Glover. Is it Glover? I think it was Glover. You're like this big magical glove, and you're going around. Uh, I can't even remember the premise of the game, but you're going around and you're doing all these missions and stuff to unlock this specific boss area that you're supposed to fight. And you're this glove that's just walking around like a big hand. So I remember that game pretty fondly. Definitely. And Tetris. Tetris too. Oh god.
Yeah, my earliest memory of gaming, I would be playing Dr. Mario with my dad. I reckon it was back in 1992, roughly.
Yeah.
2-player on the old Nintendo Entertainment System. That's my first memory of gaming.
Hmm. I don't know, and like with nowadays, I mean, I'm kind of curious to see. Like, I could be completely wrong, but the way I see games, like when I was younger, and it was maybe because I experienced it for the first time, so it kind of changed a lot of my views. But when I was playing games younger, you know, I was involved in this world. So when you see, like, for example, Ocarina of Time, like I was really, really, really in love with that game, obviously. But I see it now, like just people that are doing like an Unreal Engine 4, just to kind of, you know, show it off basically. And I don't really notice the difference because when I was young, you know, it kind of seemed that way to me at least. But now I'm kind of seeing. I wonder if games that are happening now, like being developed now and in the next few years, if they're gonna have that same feeling, and I doubt it, but that same feeling like when you were young and you played a game, you're like, yes, I'm so fucking excited, woo, you know. And I don't know. I'm kind of hoping with some of these new games that are coming out.
It's because over the years, the fun was sucked out of games and it was replaced with microtransactions.
I guess, but yeah, no, I mean that is true. You know, there's a lot of games that you bought the base game and it came with everything. You know, getting older, like um with Call of Duty, for example, I wasn't used to buying a game and then there's DLC that you have to pay extra for. Because I was used to like Star Wars Battlefront 2 or Star Wars Battlefront 1. I don't know if you ever played those, but not the new ones, like the old ones, the good ones. You bought them and it came with all these maps and all these DLCs and stuff, but it was free. It was in the game already. It was already meant to be like that. And so when I see games that are like, you know, there's microtransactions as well where you're boosting and stuff, like I think it kind of changed my perspective on gaming quite a bit. Um, to the point where, you know, I'm seeing it more and more as a job, especially with like, you know, the MMO type of area. I'd see it more as a job than anything.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. I think the MMO side of things, it's to get people to constantly play their game. They just add a grind, increases player time, people spend more time in game, makes the company look good.
Yeah, but even with games, like normal games, not even MMOs, I find that people will, and I know I do this too, and I've done it like on my own streams. I'll go and get a game, and I'll want to beat it as fast as possible. That sounds really weird, but I'll beat it as fast as possible, and that's going to be taken into context. And you know, I'm done with the game. Return it or whatever. Like you used to have shit like what was it called? It's like you would rent the game and you'd bring it back in a week. I don't even remember what it was called. Oh my god, it was so old. It went out of business. Blockbuster. I don't know if anybody remembers Blockbuster, but I feel like Blockbuster kind of gave that generic feel for people where they're gaming and they game for that week or let's say 3 days. They rent the game for 3 days and they're like, all right, I got this. I'm going to beat the game in 3 days. I'm not even going to experience it. Like I remember Ocarina of Time took me like a fucking month because I was young and stupid, obviously. But, you know, I played it again and it took me like, less than 24 hours. You know, Harry Potter, for example, like I streamed the entire game, all 7 games in less than a week. And only one of those games when I was really young on the PC took me like weeks. So I don't know. I think it's just like the whole rushing aspect that kind of maybe has ruined a lot of the mentality for players. I don't know.
It's also the fact there's not much content in games anymore. Like Dungeons 2, for example, it was free on Humble Bundle the other day. It was really fun. It actually felt like Dungeon Keeper, unlike what EA did to Dungeon Keeper.
Yeah.
But I finished it yesterday in roughly 7 hours. It was a
Really?
fun game, but yeah, the content just didn't seem there. I can understand why it was free now, but it was a good game.
Yeah, I got it. I got it for free. My friend was like, "Oh my god, look at Humble Bundle," and I'm like, "Oh, cool." So I got it for free. I was like, "All right, cool." Yeah, so it's sad to hear. I thought it'd be a bit longer, but
Well, you can draw it out a lot longer than it needs to be, but the game is relatively easy. Like rather than I know one mission, they give you the ability to upgrade your units.
yeah.
I just spammed units and finished the thing without upgrading them.
Mhm.
And this seems the Zerg strategy works just as well as upgrading a small amount of units. But that
Yeah.
was a fun game.
What was your first like introduction to MMOs? Like,
Ultima Online.
how did that feel? Like getting into a world where it's not so much where you're with your friends next to each other, and you're all playing, uh, what's it called, split screen. Rather, you're meeting these people online. How was that experience for you?
It was a strange experience. Seeing other players in the game when you're on the PC was really weird when they weren't in the same room as you,
Mm-hmm.
because Australian internet's been shit since forever. So having online play and seeing other people in the world was really strange, because back in the day, all we had to do was LAN, and we'd play like Age of Empires 1 on LAN. It was great.
Yeah.
Seeing other people in the world was weird. It was really cool. It's also where I came across my first PKers, and it turns out they were dicks then, just like they're dicks now. But lo and behold, I'm now a PKer, so it's not sure if they pushed me towards that or it just naturally evolves. The more you play games, the more you want to kill other players because they're dicks.
Yeah. Huh.
Then after that, I can't actually remember what MMO I played after that. There's been so many, they all sort of just blur in together.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of ruined a lot of the mentality for MMO players these days. I mean, for me, I remember. I'm gonna be honest. It's gonna sound absolutely crazy, but I played Ultima. I played a lot of the older MMOs, and it never clicked. Like I knew there were players, but it never clicked that they were players. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I knew there were players, I knew there were people, but in my mind, even though knowing that, they weren't. They were just there. They were just NPCs basically. It wasn't
Yeah,
until
you kind of forget.
RuneScape. Yeah, it wasn't until RuneScape where it really clicked. Or like, these are real people. They're across the world. I can talk to them. Huh. Yeah, it never really clicked in until then. I don't know if
Yeah,
that was the same for you.
yeah, it's definitely the same, especially in Ultima. Like when you'd run around PKing someone, you completely forget that there's probably an angry guy on the other side of the world wanting to punch his monitor because he just killed him and took absolutely everything he had on him because he was a bitch.
Yeah.
And you kind of forget that. But now, especially with voice comms, people get angry so much more and you actually notice it, that you're actually affecting someone and they're getting mad over it. Back then, when it was nothing but text chat, you didn't notice it was a player just because you thought it was just normal text chat.
For
Yeah,
sure.
it definitely you definitely didn't feel like you were killing another player or questing with another player unless you knew that person, because then you're like, oh yeah, that's that guy, my friend from across the road. It
Hmm.
wasn't some random guy in America that you've met once.
And it was even like partying up with them, like partying up with these random people. Um, like in the older games, but like pre RuneScape for me, like partying up with them. Like again, I knew they were people, but in my mind, like they were like NPCs. Even like conversing with them and like having like a full on conversation with them. Um, it just felt like when you're a kid and you're talking to a teddy bear and the teddy bear is supposedly talking to you back, but everyone's looking at you like you're retarded. But in your mind, that's how it's. You're having a full on conversation. That's kind of how it stayed for me. But I just, just assumed that was fucking crazy.
Wait, you mean Big Bird never actually spoke back to me?
I mean, I don't know, man. But it's that's how I saw it, and it wasn't until RuneScape where it's like, oh, okay, these people have voices, and then voice comms came out like MSN. Uh, I mean, there was more before that, but for me, like it was like what introduced me into it was more MSN, and then Skype, and then eventually it was Ventrilo, and what was that one? It just got discontinued. like many years ago. Um, do you remember the name?
I have no idea. Ventrilo was the. You mean voice comms or just text
Voice
comms?
comms, yeah.
Yeah, Vent was my
Voice and
first. I'm
yeah,
sure there was others, but
it was like Skype sort of. Um, I can't remember, but it was that, and then TeamSpeak, and then so on and so forth. But
fucking X-Fire.
no, not. Oh my god, I remember Xfire, dude. No, but it wasn't Xfire. God, I can't now remember. So many people use it, but I remember Xfire quite a bit. I remember playing EG Guns. It's when I got my first job as a GM, but I wasn't allowed. Like they had a weird position there where you were able to be a GM, but it was more like a volunteer position. They would kind of like pay you through perks and games and stuff. And so, because I was under age and I still show kind of maturity and stuff, Xfire was kind of the way to talk to everybody. But creating events and stuff, that's kind of how I got my first like stuff in the industry. I was like, ooh, but then I kind of like went away from that. But anyways, that's off topic, even though there is no topic. But yeah, I can't remember the name, dude. But it wasn't until then that I was like, oh shit, these are real people. And I think even now, like parts of me, like when you get in like a conversation, or you're fighting with someone online, or part of me still sees them as pixels, I think. And I don't know if it's a bad habit or an old habit that's just hasn't gone away.
No, that's definitely the case. Like, especially if they're not in voice chat with you, you don't see them as another person. I know I don't. It's just the way it is. I'm sorry, Twinkletoes69, but you're not in voice comms, you're a wanker. And after this party, chances are I will PK you if I'm allowed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went through quite a few different voice comms. Like, I think we started off in Ventrilo, then went to TeamSpeak, and then Mumble, and then TS3. And we tried Dolby, which was really cool but really creepy at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And now I primarily use Discord. It's not as great voice quality, but the text chat just makes it a lot better. I use Skype for a little bit as well, but Skype is trash always.
I've never really, Skype is so big. It still is kind of big, but the voice quality in Skype is just garbage. Like I don't even understand. I mean, they could potentially upgrade that, but they don't.
Oh, it's Microsoft. They want to put ads in it rather than just upgrade the quality of it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. The reason I'm not responding that much is because I'm actually looking into what the fuck this VoIP is called, and I cannot remember, and it's driving me insane. And I'm looking and looking, and I cannot remember, dude.
It didn't actually exist, did it? You're just imagining it. Although there was Raid Call in there.
Raid Call.
That was after Ventrilo, though.
Yeah, no, it was after Raid Trello, but no, Raid Call. Yes, and I think it was. Was it? Hold on. Am I losing my mind? Yes, it was Raid Call. It was Raid Call.
Yeah, I remember using Raid Call when I was leading the. Let's just get out of there. The 4chan guild in Age of Wushu, Boku no Jet Li. It was a yeah, it was an interesting time. That name got scrapped shortly afterwards, and then it turned into No Trabu, like Jackie Chan says in Rush Hour. Don't want no trouble. Yeah, that was a terrible game. Well, it was a good game. It was a terrible community. Pretty much anything you play with 4chan is going to be a terrible time. But yeah, we used Raid Call for that, and it was trash. And I'm so glad we dropped it after playing that game.
Yeah. Raid Call, dude. I remember that because many years after the whole Xfire thing, like I stopped playing MMOs for a while, and I picked it back up in 2015, 14 or 15. Picked them back up and got really back into them at that time. And I was playing the Secret World, and then I didn't really play with anybody. I just played with myself, which was, I mean, whatever. But when I played Terra, I know there was Raid Call, and that was a big thing still. Like it was not like 4 years ago that it was a big thing. recall, and I don't know. I mean, you look at the evolution of VoIPs now, and like you have Discord, and Discord. The thing with Discord that bothers me is that they have really, really good voice quality if you're partnered with them. However, if you're not, it sounds like garbage. Whereas TeamSpeak has a pretty good, voice quality. Even if you don't have to be partnered with them, you just got to pay a shit ton of money. So, depending on your community size, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how we got into this topic.
Communications. And
Communication is important.
If people are actually people.
Get into a conspiracy thing. Are people people, or are they just figments of our imagination?
I did actually read something that we're all part of Elon Musk's big virtual reality, and he self-inserted himself into the game because it was getting boring. And that's why he's pushing to colonize Mars and shit.
Really? No way. But
yeah, there's an entire it's a 4-page article on it. I'm like, this can't be real. But no, this person was legit thinking that we're in some gigantic virtual reality.
Oh my god. Yeah, I've read some really funny ones. There was one, I think it was more of a creepypasta. But it's like, have you ever been to the hospital? It's like, yes. What if something happened while you were in the hospital, while you slept? This is all a dream. These last few years have been all a dream. And you're still stuck in that hospital right now. I was like, fuck.
That sounds like the fan theory for why Ash has been 10 years old in Pokemon the entire time.
Yeah.
Because he's actually in a coma.
Yeah.
And the reason why he never wins is because if he does win, then he'll wake up and realize he's, in a hospital somewhere, dying or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's actually quite creepy.
It's been a theory for a few games too. A few animes and a few shows and a few games, yeah. But it makes you think.
If you die in the game.
Yeah. Which brings me to my next point. There's a game, there's a movie. Again, I don't even remember what the fucking movie was called. Oh, Jesus Christ. Where if you died in the game, no, not the Matrix, but if you die in the game, you die in real life. And it's more of a curse thing based on Elizabeth Bathory, who is this countess in the 1600s, I believe. And she used to kill little girls, virgin girls, and bathe in their blood and stuff. And so the game revolved around trying to escape the countess. And if she caught you, you would die. And you would die in real life. Kind of it was like a haunted thing. It was a cool movie. Very underrated. Not a lot of people liked it either. But what would you feel if a game was like that? Like, it literally, you had to sign like not an NDA, but like a contract that says, I'm good if I die. I'm not going to sue anybody. My parents can't sue anybody. Let's play this game. If I die, if you win like what, $1 million or whatever. But if you die, well, you die in real life. What would you do with that?
Well, it would definitely weed out the shitters. and there wouldn't be any bots in there because they'd have to be players, because if the bots were there, they'd just die anyway. It'd be interesting. It would depend on the type of game to how much I'd be okay with it. Like, if it started using my physical attributes in the game, yeah, I'll pass. Like, it's not that I'm 1,200 pounds and can't breathe. I'd just rather not have myself in a game. If I was using the characters and it was based on like my skills in games, then I'd be okay with it. Yeah, but if they did the whole SAO thing and all of a sudden my avatar would start looking like me, I'd be like, nah.
Phil, it looks like you're like, you know what, just end me now. I'm good. No, I wasn't going that far with I wasn't saying virtual reality. It was just like, in the movie, you put in the CD, because apparently that's how games used to be played. Put in the CD.
Whoa.
And you have this RPG character in which, I don't know, you're like a guy or a girl, you have attributes, and you're running around. And you're trying to solve this mystery while trying to escape. It was like that, I wasn't going for a virtual reality thing. Definitely not.
No, but that could also happen, though. You have to remember that. This is a game that you could die if you die in game.
True. I guess, yeah.
It'd have to have some pretty good features like VR.
No, well, he has died. I guess he played the game, and it's all over now.
Rip in peace.
Rip. There you are. But no, speaking of virtual reality, I know Japan is coming out with that. I think we talked about it last week a little bit, just briefly. They're coming out with this full-on 100% like SAO-esque type of thing, where you are virtual. There's a virtual reality game, obviously, and it scans your body, and it kind of does a kind of a replica in the game, and you're playing around with it. You look down, you see your hands and stuff, and you're going around and stuff. Well, how do you think that game will do, especially, with today's youth?
It could be good. It could be absolutely trash because of how undisciplined today's youth is.
True.
Although you could also see that the game would be very Care Bearish. People wouldn't be fighting each other. In VR, if I can slap you with a virtual reality sword, I will be. You'll get all these Care Bears like, oh, but I don't like the PvP. I'm in a safe zone. Stop trying to bait me into attacking you. It would turn the game absolutely shit. If it's VR, I'd want to be able to kill someone in game with my bare hands.
Well, that's very telling of you.
Exactly.
But no, I don't know. I mean, like I said, we touched briefly on this topic before, and I mean, I'd like to see how it does. I know if they're going for the virtual reality type of thing that's going on now, where you have to move your body and it kind of does the motions, then it could be good for a health type of point. But if they go further than that, because we're getting to that point of technology where maybe they do the whole nerve gear thing, and it's based on what you're thinking, and if you're thinking about moving, then you'll move, kind of like I said, sort of online. If it does go to that point, then I can definitely see a future where like, oh shit, well, if you die in the game, you die in real life type of thing, and definitely would be 100% undisciplined, especially with communities around the world just like complete garbage.
That's like those extremely weird people that play. I know someone that plays Counter-Strike professionally, and they have an impact jacket. So when they get shot in game, like they get like a full-on punch from this vest that they're wearing to where they got shot to try and tell them to not be so shit. It's really hilarious. I feel that would have some sort of thing. Like if I say hit you with a sword, for example, again, I'd want there to be some kind of pressure impact on your arm to know that I just hit you with a sword. Maybe not cut off your arm, but definitely some kind of thing that actually hits you.
Mm-hmm.
That would make the VR complete. Just sitting there, like in a room, looking like an idiot with like 2 sticks in your hand and a couple of balls on your legs to make it look like you're walking around.
Yeah,
it's not enough.
Just stay in the game forever. You'll never be able to, feel it. Put some saline drips on your, in your arms, and you're good. You're okay. But let's there's some upcoming MMOs that are looking very promising, and we've talked quite a bit about a few of them. Secret World Legends, for example, comes out in 13 days. Ashes of Creation is reaching $2 million in Kickstarter now, and Age of Conan is coming out of early access or some shit, and some other games coming out. Hell Waters are coming out into early access in a couple weeks.
We got Critica. Their beta starts on the 24th. It looks like a terrible game, but
it's a game.
I have a community that's going to be there, so if you want to join us, give me a yell on Discord.
Yeah, Critica. There's a lot of games coming out, and we voiced our concerns, and we had the opportunity on the very first episode where we went straight into the pay to win talk. We went into how community management has been absolute garbage in games. We went all into that, and we had some developers actually in the chat, and listening in and trying to hearing our concerns in a constructive form, so they can go ahead and make sure that their games does not go like that. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on Ashes of Creation? Like, let's be truthful here. Like, if you have any real true concerns with it, or you know, any
Yep.
false hopes, then speak out. I want to. Let's talk about it. Let's be blunt about it.
Yeah, and, the more they reveal about the features of the game as the Kickstarter continues on, I'm slightly concerned with it. Like I was reading the other day in the Discord about unkillable guards. That doesn't sound like a fun time, especially as myself will probably be corrupted 3/4 of my playtime.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard much about the guild warring system, but someone was saying it takes a very long period for it to actually go through. I'm not sure if that's true because I haven't really paid much attention to the guild war side of things. But if I declare on a guild, I'd want to be able to kill them fairly straight away, not have to wait an hour.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's true. There was just topic in the chat, but it's kind of scares me. And just the general careberryness. Like, I want old school PvP again. I have local servers now with the Oceanic servers being, announced and confirmed. I want to be able to kill people. I don't want to have to wait a month for me to set up a siege to either kill a castle or fight a node. I want to kill players, not necessarily in an arena environment. We need that.
Right.
And all these people pushing for PvP servers, it was shut down. Sucks to be you. Go find another game like World of Warcraft where being a Care Bear is okay. PvE servers, they're not my jam.
I do find the PvE servers have, they kind of eliminate one of the big, how do I put it? Like, if the game has PvP and it has PvE, it's a PvX game, and you're just kind of segregating, so you have a PvE game only with some optional PvP, or if it's just a PvP game with some optional PvE, rather than having both merged like it was originally meant to be, I think it kind of ruins the game. I mean, I wouldn't really call it Care Bear. I think that's a kind of an outdated term now, and everybody's like, whatever. I'm a strong believer that people should play it however the fuck they want. Whether they want to be super lazy and RP, or they want their hands held. That's kind of the people that also make profit for some of us. For example, some of us are gamers that go really hardcore into games, and we get to go with the players who are more casual or more, as you put it, Care Bear. And I've seen this in lots of games, and I see it now. It's like they ask to be paid, hey, I'll pay you 500 gold to carry me through this dungeon because I can't do it by myself, even though it's a soloable dungeon. But I'm lazy and I would love some help. You're making money off it. Now, I don't know if
that's not so bad though.
Yeah.
There's someone paying you to do it. It's more of the fact that when I say Care Bear, I mean people that dislike PvP, or they want PvP to have such harsh penalties that it's just to draw people away from not doing it. If someone's shit and they need to run through a dungeon, that's all fine and dandy. It just means they're shit. but if someone's cutting trees and they don't want to drop like their 50 logs, tough titties, mate. I just slapped your shit. They're my logs now.
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of games where they're dumbed down because of these mechanics. The game's like I said, a PvX game. So we're looking at, for example, Ashes of Creation, and I hope they understand. We've seen a lot of MMOs that are imported into the West. Black Desert being one of the biggest ones. It had this big thing where you can go ahead and kill everybody and do anything you want. You can do anything in the game, anything you want. The thing with the game is that they dumped it down so much because of complaints and, oh my god, let's make it easier. Let's make the bosses a little more easier. Make him spawn faster. Do this. Blah blah blah. So catering to a lot of needs that actually go ahead and ruin the original vision of a game. I'm totally against that. I mean, I don't really call them Care Bears. I don't really call anybody a name, but I understand where you're coming from. Even if it's just a PvP, take away PvP and make it a PvE game, that's kind of weird. I mean, it's not how the game is intended to be. Why would there be guilds then? Guilds are usually there to create a sub faction towards other factions so you can fight and compete against other people. Sometimes that means killing each other. If it's just a guild or a clan to go ahead and compete or on the highest rankings of clearing a dungeon, I mean, that's great and all, but it's not a very big community.
And it's also the fact that PvE content like dungeons, for example, they're all fairly static. Like once you know how a boss is going to roll, you pretty much know that fight forever. Like it's very rare that boss fights have just random mechanics, usually because it draws people away.
Yeah.
Like you look at Final Fantasy 14 or World of Warcraft, every boss has the same routine. Once you get the timings down, shit becomes easy, and it's just look at me, I can clear this 3 seconds faster because I killed him last week and got a slightly better piece of gear.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing in BDO that definitely killed it for me, when you don't lose experience for dying in PvP anymore, that killed it. Back then, it was used as a deterrent. If you're in an area and some dickhead comes along, you kill them, they lose experience. They're like, oh, fuck, maybe I shouldn't come here.
Yeah.
Now, they don't have any consequences, so they just keep coming back and pretty much fuck you out of the position.
But in a way, aren't you? So what you're saying? Are you saying it from like you didn't like it from being a PvPer or being the person that was killed?
The PvP, like, because what happened was when there was consequences to dying from PvP,
Yeah.
people would usually go, oh, I don't want to grind another 12 hours to get my 2% experience back after dying twice. When you remove that, they'll just keep coming back and griefing you constantly because you get penalties for PvPing someone and killing them, but they get no penalties for dying. So they just keep coming back to fuck you more and more and again and again. And that's where the whole karma bombing thing happened. It was quite rife on my server. Not sure it was on every server, but NA1, definitely karma bombing and just griefing in PvP was constant.
Yeah. I could see how that would be a little frustrating. I know with this game at least, I believe they've stated it, but I don't remember. My memory is really bad. Like I've just been super tired, but I'm pretty sure like if you die from being PvP'd, you do lose some XP. I'm not entirely sure on that information, but I believe that's true.
Yeah, you get XP penalty supposedly. You'll never de-level, but you can go into negative experience, probably to avoid the whole karma griefing or corruption griefing in Ashes.
So
But if they attack you back, they don't get the XP penalty, supposedly. There is no penalties if you die in consensual PvP.
Yeah, well, that makes more sense. But I mean, I'm just hoping, they're listening. I said this in a previous podcast, but I'm hoping they listen to the community, not to the point where they change their game and their core product and the vision for the game to the point where it's like it's become an easy game. I liked that in their previous their video. I think it was yesterday actually. They said there's not going to be dailies. They don't want it to be a grind fest or feel like a game that you go in and it feels like a job, which admittedly a lot of games do feel like it's a job because you just log in to do dailies and you're like, all right, well I did my part, going to bed now. They don't want to do. They want to stay away from that. I'm hoping they stick to that thing. It's like I'm putting my foot down. We want this system, for example, the whole XP thing. You lose XP when you die from a corrupted player. I hope they stick to that. They put their foot down. It's like we're not changing it because you're bitching at us. You supported the game. There's thousands of players that supported the game based on what we've offered. This is what we've offered. Now you guys are asking us to change what we've offered because you don't like it. I find that a little sketchy. I hope they don't. I hope they don't change anything for that. I hope they put their foot down and they're firm about it.
Well, yeah. Well, when the lead director himself plays games, you kind of going in the right direction because most of these other companies, most of their people, like the people in the business itself, have never played a game in their life. When it comes to actual decisions, they just palm it off to the devs and are like, "Oh yeah, all these nerds are having a bitch about losing experience. Get rid of it."
Yeah.
So yeah, when the actual business people play the games, I feel they're more likely to keep their own features because that's how they envisioned it. When you look at these big publishers like Cash Cow / Dorm,
yeah,
they'll change the game to appeal to whoever's the loudest.
That's true, and I've seen in games, for example, where guilds with hundreds of players or communities with hundreds, maybe 1,000 players or more, using that advantage to say we want to change this game. We don't like how it is. We're gonna change this game. I don't like that. I mean, it sucks. And if it's a legitimate concern where it should be changed, all right. But if it's something like let's make the game easier, let's make it a little bit less, um, a little less than what it's supposed to be, then I mean I don't know about that. I mean I don't know. I have a lot of opinions, and I try to be careful from my day to day life to be careful with what I say and how I say it because I'm not sure, right? No one knows, especially with Ashes of Creation. It's coming out in I don't know when. Friends and Family test is at the end of this year. Alpha for Kickstarters next year, and beta maybe next year or the year after, and then open beta or release will be the year after that. So before 2020, hopefully. And we have so much speculation. I'm looking at their Discord, and I love the community. They're great, but I also see a lot of concerns that in the sense of they're wanting things changed that haven't been implemented yet, and they're wanting things that are more easier. And like I said, I support the community. I love the community. I just want to make sure that the like Steven or the studio understands that hey, this is we're putting our foot down. We love the game. We're all gamers. We've all been burnt in the past. Trust in our product. Trust in what we're doing. I'm feeling like a seller. I'm feeling like I'm feeling like someone like it's at Best Buy. It's like, listen, just trust in our product. No, but seriously, trust that they understand your frustrations, but try not. I've seen people that are trying to change the game from its core elements that should not be changed. I mean, I don't know. That's just things that concern me. Because if it's one person or a few people that are doing that, what if it's more than that? Way more than that. Because there's a lot of people in the world, if I recall. I don't go outside, so I'm not sure.
With that speech, then I can imagine wearing like a straw hat out the front of a shop, trying to spook people in. It's sorry, that's all I can imagine, and I'll buy 5 of them, by the way.
Trust in our product. No, but
yeah, as long as they don't change it because people whinge, that's the main thing. Like, it's happened many times before. Prime example of where it doesn't happen: Yoshi P with Final Fantasy XIV. People have been going on about DPS meters since the original game, and he's been adamant in saying, "Not happening. You can fuck your DPS meters. Just fuck them off."
Yep.
Someone actually asked it in an interview. He actually got up off the stage and left. And came back like 2 minutes later saying no.
Yeah,
now that's
I love that.
That's something when you stick to your guns, it's good.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to stick to your guns. Yeah, don't bitch down and be like, you know what? I'm afraid that if I don't do this, it's not gonna make much money. These are customers I'm potentially losing. Hopefully, it's not like that.
Yeah. The other thing I am slightly concerned about with this though is the voice chat that's going to be in game. That scares me. Like, why would I use an inbuilt guild Discord when I have my own guild Discord? Well, it seems there's a lot of things going on with the voice chat of this game that seems like it's pointless because most people coming into this game will already have pre-established communications for their guild or community. It seems like a half redundant feature.
Yeah. Well, it depends on how it's implemented, right? Because we don't know how exactly it would be implemented. There's only been one game that's successfully come out with the Discord integration, and I can't even think of the title right now because I can't think of any titles for the last fucking hour. But there's a game in Discord, and that's like, oh, our first game that has our game bridge. It's like, oh shit, I didn't get to test it out, but I'm wondering if I go and test that out, if it's kind of the same system, if it is similar or if they're going for something different. Because, I've seen games, I guess the most recent example is like Revelation Online in China, for example. They have a separate chat system. It's like a voice system and also like a texting system. And you would go in the game, you click on it, and it would open like a separate app, sort of, and you can actually select the people and talk to them. I wonder if it's like that or if it's like literally in the game, and you just right click them and it says mute. You know, because I know they're trying to implement these voice chat, and there's not going to be a proximity one, which is cool and is bad. I
That's
like,
good.
yeah, they're not going to have the proximity, which is good because sadly, the world is garbage and people would abuse that shit very very quickly. Um, in an ideal world, you know, there'd be people role playing, be like, "Hello, welcome to my wares. I'm selling some pantyhose," you know, but that's not going to happen, obviously. So they're only going to have the voice chat system for guilds and parties and raid systems, and you'd be able to go ahead and put a priority speaker or, I guess, like a captain that could speak over everybody else and kind of control things like that, and mute people as well. So I think that's cool, but like again, it's really dependent on how they implement it because I've seen a lot of games try and fail with that type of system at least.
Yeah, definitely yet to see a decent voice chat implemented. It's been pretty lackluster pretty much the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Dota 2, for example, it's usually 12-year-olds screaming. Counter-Strike, it's someone usually spamming some sort of shitty dubstep in the background.
Yeah, and I'm curious, you know, if the alpha or not the alpha, the friends and family tests at the end of this year will actually have that Discord implementation. I really am. Not that even if I knew, I wouldn't be able to say it because NDA at the end of the year. But even if I knew now, I wouldn't be able to because NDA also. But I am curious. Like hypothetically speaking, I don't know, but I'm curious if they're going to have it, and if they are, if we're able to speak about that specific mechanism. If they're just gonna say, "Hey, you can't speak about it because you're under this NDA and you can't talk about the entire game," so you're really like, "Fuck, now we can't talk about the one system."
I think it depends on if they actually physically announce it. They're like, "Oh yeah, Discord, this is what it looks like." You can probably go into it. Probably can't go into how it works in the background, but you can be like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's got an extremely shitty looking interface."
Yeah, no, and like I said, it really just depends on how they implement it, but I am overly, definitely, genuinely curious about it because it's about time. Not a lot of games in the West have in the West have a voice over IP. They go for the cheap stuff. They go for something easy. They go for a copy paste, and then bam, sell it. And then once they're done, they get their quotas. They go ahead and just try to make another game. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of voice chat in the Western games, just not MMOs in particular. I don't know. It's either going to work well or it's going to work absolutely terribly. I'm sort of halfway in between,
Yeah.
mainly because I already have a Discord. So if I can't integrate my own personal Discord, it's going to suck a bit.
Well, maybe, but I doubt it. I feel like it's just like the brand of Discord, but it doesn't exactly look like Discord. I feel like it's gonna look completely different, how do I put it? It's like it's like malware bytes or something. Like, I don't know. Think of fucking Microsoft Edge, for example. It's Windows or it's Microsoft or Windows. It's Microsoft, but it doesn't say it's Microsoft, but it's Microsoft, and it's Microsoft. That's the same thing I'm trying to think of. Like that, maybe the VoIP will be kind of like it's Discord branded, but it doesn't exactly look like Discord, like what we're used to with the traditional UI that we're always using on the Discord app. It's just their brand, but it's implemented differently.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. The main thing I want to see in Discord is fucking sub channels. When are we getting sub channels in Discord? This is killing me.
I don't know. They said this year. They announced it on December. They're like, "Oh, here's our plan for this year: sub channels," and they're releasing the camera. What's it called? Camera chat and screen sharing and some other shit. Moderating logs, which they already did, so that's cool.
What I can tell, it's depending on what gets upvoted the most on their threads and forums and the discussion board, whichever has the highest amount of things is what they work on at the moment. So at the moment, screen sharing, for some reason, has a lot higher votes than sub channels.
Yeah, because you got
Don't
to
know why.
think. Yeah, they're trying to replace Skype. That's the thing. Like their primary concern right now is people moving away from Skype, and this kind of with any product, moving away from Skype and trying to use Discord instead of Skype. So I would not be surprised one bit if they go with screen sharing first, which is would help instead of TeamViewer, and sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. So TeamViewer instead of TeamViewer, and then going into the camera, which would be even more easily implemented, which would render Skype completely useless.
That would also be pretty creepy for our shows.
We could see each other's
cam,
face. Oh my god! I wouldn't show my
I'd
face.
actually have to.
No, a lot of people that actually look into me, they know how I look like. It's not hard to find me. You can literally go on Facebook and type up Sarah Monin, but there's a majority that don't, and so I keep that a kind of a mystery. But like, I don't know how I look like. Do you know how I look like? I don't have a mirror, So with you, I know everybody knows how you look like because you have a show on your head. So
yeah, that was some good promotion for your extremely shitty giveaway, by the way. You should thank me now.
You got a key. You got a key. But yeah, no. I'm definitely, like I said, I'm definitely excited for Ash's creation. I'm naturally skeptic because of shit that's happened in the past, obviously, but I think a lot of people should be. I think they should have an open mind, though, and be positive and understand that, people are trying to make a difference. You're looking at these streams from Intrepid Studios who are going ahead and saying, they're like, we're tired of the pay-to-win shit. We're tired of games that are copy and paste and they don't do any shit. You can tell it in their face. They're serious about it. They're like, we're sick of it, and we want to go ahead and try to change the entire game. We understand that you're skeptic. We understand that you have issues with some of our systems. We also understand that you're trying to nitpick at, our referral system. You're trying to nitpick at Steven's past and yada, 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 yada. But at the end of the day, once the game is out, those same people that are fucking bitching are going to try it out and probably be into the game.
Unless it sucks absolutely.
Unless it sucks absolute ass. You can't really know, but, you can really hope. I live my motto with expect the worst and hope for the best. And I say that often.
That's actually really reminiscent to Friday. I went and saw Alien Covenant, not actually a shit movie. There you go. Went in expecting absolute trash.
You were expecting garbage. You hope for it, and look at that. You came out surprised either way. It's a good way to live, dude. Was it a good movie? Yeah.
I gave it an 8 out of 10. It brought back the original Alien creepy feel.
That's good. I like that.
Which Prometheus and 3 and 4 didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, we have a question from a guest.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure it's my little brother, but we still have a question. Which game franchise do you want to see turn into an MMO RPG and hopefully not be shit?
I could totally go into that good thing I talked about the week before that. You go first, though. You go first.
As much as the 12-year-old in me wants to say, Pokemon RPG. MMORPG, Pokemon.
Yeah.
Everyone. Full 3D.
Yo, there is one already, though. There's one in alpha right now.
It's going to be good, though.
It's good. They have, the characters are, like, they all look the same because they're trying to just, test the stability. But essentially, you're all 3D characters, and you're literally have to throw the ball, like, you have to aim it at the fucking Pokemon, and it's really retarded sometimes because the aiming is bad sometimes. And then you can actually fight with the Pokemon and stuff. I think it's pretty cool. I think they're gonna get shut down because it's not an actual Pokemon like licensed game, but
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. It actually looks really nice. It's just a pity. Yeah, it's probably gonna get axed. In fact, it looks like they're using Red Sprite from Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah. But Pokemon, you say you'd like to see into an MMO.
Yeah, Pokemon MMO. It would be great. It'd
Mm-hmm.
have to be done by Game Freak and Nintendo, though.
Of
It
course.
can't be some shitty third party company that would just fuck it.
Yeah.
Preferably no microtransactions. Like, I don't want to pay $5 to get 5 extra Pokeballs from the Pokemon. Like, I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather use my own in game currency for that one.
Yeah. It's yeah, no, and I'm hoping. Like I'll be honest. Like I was actually a couple of years ago, even last year. Shit, I think like every couple months I'm looking into it. It's like I really want an MMO that's from Pokemon, like a Pokemon MMO. I think that'd be pretty fucking fun. Even like a Zelda Legend of Zelda MMO would be kind of fun too. But correct me, like I've thrown this idea at a couple developers here and there, and I've thrown it on Twitter many years ago. But tell me if you like this idea. Imagine Nintendo and Game Freak, Nintendo and all their characters, Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, and all that. Like, imagine the roster of Super Smash Brothers, right? Now, imagine them in a MOBA, much like Smite, but it's all Pokemon themed, or you know, whatever the theme of the day, or whatever the fuck. But it's all those characters. You know, you can be any of those characters, Zelda or whatever the case, against one another. MOBA just like that in 3D, and you kind of control them. They have their special abilities and shit like that. You know, you could be your fucking Pikachu, you could be your Lugia, whatever the fuck you really want, and you're facing each other in a MOBA, much like Smite.
Yeah, I'm imagining that, and all I'm hearing is Russians in the background swearing at me
But
like they
it'd
do
be
in Dota.
fucking fun. Even like Paladins maybe, or Overwatch, but just like Pokemon, I think would be a fantastic game. I don't know. I'm more inclined towards the Smite type of thing idea of a MOBA. But anyways,
Yeah, I'm hoping that stays as an idea.
yeah, that's so rude. You're not the first person to say that. But
Premise is good. It's the genre that's bad. Like, you don't want it to be a
yeah,
fucking a MOBA. No, no
yeah.
way in hell. Fuck that off.
It really depends. But so you're saying Pokemon, and that's what you're sticking with what you
Yep.
want as an MMO. For
hmm
for a franchise for me, and I talked about it last week. I think it was last week's Senpai, and I'll expand more on it. Call of Duty in an open world, completely progressive MMORPG. Now, how would this work? Now, if you listened to the last week, I kind of explained it. But more into if you want me to explain it a little bit more, kind of like recap. Essentially, it's like Call of Duty, it's a FPS, but it's a true MMO FPS. So it's an open world, 100% open world, much like Skyrim size. You don't want to go too far big, obviously. And you got to go hunting for these players. You got these quests that you can find in encampments. And think of like a big ass deserted area. And there's encampments, and you can talk to these quest givers, and they're like, "Whoa, hey, let me give you this quest. Let me kill this piece of shit." And it's like, "All right, cool. Let me." You got to kill 5 players. Like, all right, so you got to find 5 players. So you have to be very sneaky about it, because if you die, you lose XP. So what you do is you go around, and if you're a sniper, then you hide and you wait for more players. They're going into the encampment, shoot them up. The NPCs are going to go ahead and look for you, but they're not going to find you if you're well hidden. So you kill these players. If you have like a bounty on someone, you're going ahead and you're finding this person. You got to look for them, across the world. I think it would be a fantastic premise. That's just the base, right? I think it'd be fantastic. It just really depends on how things would be added. I would hope there's no microtransaction, no DLCs, but that's not going to happen with Activision. And I would hope that it would be really fantastic, especially if you have like you activate like a event mode where it's like zombie mode, right? And so you hear like Elena Sigmund and like all the original like Black Ops, music, and you got to go. You got these zombies open world, right? And that happens for like an hour or 2 a day or whatever, or once a week or some shit like that. I think it'd be fantastic. I don't know. I would love that. Probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, knowing Activision, there would be microtransactions in that, like this Hello Kitty digital camo, $2.99.
You are not wrong, dude. That's why I said it wouldn't happen, but it's an idea. To answer,
You know, that's why you take it away from the Call of Duty aspect into another game in that genre.
yeah,
Something like imagine that with Armor. Armor 3 is a fun game. Armor 2 was a buggy but fun game. Well, then again, so was Armor 3. You could do that in that sort of situation.
yeah. The reason I said Call of Duty is because it has a bigger fan base, and with the brand of Call of Duty and I don't know, Treyarch, fucking Activision and Treyarch behind it, I think would be a big fucking game.
Only if it released on console.
Please no.
If it was PC only, it would flop because, you know, no one plays
Yeah, you're right.
Call of Duty on the PC.
Well, that's where you think, what if they have like a shared world experience where they have the same, it wouldn't happen, but same world experience between Xbox, PS4, and the PC, you know? I know Microsoft does not share their shit, dude. They don't. They do not want to touch Sony shit. They only did it for Rocket League. They're like testing the waters, but even then, you know, it'd be
give
cool.
aim assist to those people.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I mean that's. I hope that answered your question.
If you're listening, Dill Pants, yeah, we just answered your question.
Yeah.
I'm like 90% sure it's my little brother in the other room.
Well, either way, it was a good question. I definitely would like to see that type of franchise into an MMO. Pokemon as an MMO would be pretty fun. I've played a few of them, but they're not 3D like you're saying. You know, they're just like, you know, your traditional Pokemon, but like high definition sort of. And you're running around the world and collecting Pokemon and battling people and stuff like that. And there's a few MMOs like that, you know, Pokemon MMO, for example, Pokemon Dawn of Darkness. There's a few, but you know, they're all none of them are licensed. So
no, we need an actual official one.
Yeah, and
really
they won't do it too, but I know they won't do it
because they know they'd make too much money out of it.
I don't know. I think it would take too much development time, and they're just like, we're just lazy. Let's just keep pumping out the same game with different skins. But yeah.
Wow. Crushing my feels right there.
But then, that's how literally every Pokemon game has been. It's just like, let's change the story a bit. Have a different character. Maybe have the same character. Maybe a few different Pokemon, and bam, you got a new game of Pokemon. What are we going to call it this time? White and black. No, that's already out. How about gray and sadness? Oh my god, it sounds so edgy. Let's sell it. I mean, let's be real. Every color of the rainbow's been used.
Which brings us a good point. If you do have any questions, give us a yell. We're actually making a Twitter, and if you hashtag us, we will answer your question in the following week.
Oh, you're making the Twitter?
It's to be discussed.
It's to be discussed.
But that's what'll happen. It'll be on the YouTube channel or this description here on the page.
Yeah, for
We're
sure.
making a Twitch. If you hashtag us a channel, we'll give you a new hashtag as well.
Yeah, and
we will answer it.
If you ask a question in the comments also, any of our videos, then we'll probably answer it on the next video. Or live stream, I guess. If you're watching the video, we're the live stream, so. But yeah, I think that's it for us tonight. I mean, it was, like I said, there wasn't big topics. We just kind of wanted to talk about the beginning of our time